Welcome to Puzzle with Emilia. That's me. And today we are going to learn from the best, and that is definitely not me. We're about to enter to a chat with the one and only two-time world champion, two-time Spanish champion, Alejandro Clemente León. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper today. We're going to ask a lot of specific questions. This is a two-part unfiltered interview, and we're really trying to understand how did he get to be so fast. The most common question that is usually asked is like, how are you so fast? But the issue is that you cannot go to Michael Jordan and ask, how are you so good at basketball? And then expect like 2-sentence answer to that question that will explain everything, and then you will be the next Michael Jordan. No, we need to really dive deep and ask a lot of questions to understand everything. And today it's the part 1. Let's go. Hello.
Hi, Emilia. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so excited. You have no idea. I was like waiting. Is he gonna enter? But there he is. Hi, how are you?
Fine. Everything is fine. So I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so excited. How's the first question first? How's the weather there?
Nice. To be honest, here in Spain, we have, and in my region in Barcelona, where I live, we have passed months with a lot of hot and sun, and we didn't see water. And these last weeks, we had some bad days. Today it's sun, but yeah, I hope we can maintain this weather. Yeah.
Awesome. We actually have also sun here today in Finland, this is crazy story. We had snow just last week.
Wow.
Yeah, and now we have like plus 15 degrees, I think. So
that's not bad, because as I told you, my best friend, she is she's dating, and she's with a boy. Her boyfriend is from Sweden, and she told me that when there is more than 15 degrees, it's practically like summer, so she can go outside with short trousers. Yeah, so that's crazy.
Yes, definitely. I don't even know where to start. I have like a bunch of questions and themes and everything, so we just have to start with something. But I think it's very interesting because I feel like in the puzzle community where we are very opposites because we have very different backgrounds. Like I just started doing puzzles pretty much. I did my first one 2 years ago, but to my understanding, you have done puzzles your whole life. So how did you get started? When did you do your first puzzle?
Exactly. I've been done puzzles all my life. I don't remember exactly at what age I started, but I know that I had a 25-piece puzzle, maybe when I was 1 year, 2 years. And from then I remember all my life doing puzzles. Maybe until 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I could do 500-piece puzzles. And then I start doing more than 2,000. And yeah, I remember all my life doing big puzzles between 2,000 and 6,000 pieces until I discovered the world of contest.
Yeah. So so you haven't like competed your whole life, obviously. When did you how did you find out about speed puzzling, and like what was your first competition and how did it go?
That's crazy, because sometimes in my life I thought about the possibility of having contests, but I didn't know that that exists already. And one of my best friends knows about my hobby, this passion of puzzles, and she found a puzzle contest here next to Barcelona, where I live, in Viladecans. It's a little city. And of course, I saw the event and I went with my dad, and we participated together in that one. And we finished in 4th position. So that was my starting because it was a not big contest, but I believe more than 40, 50 pairs. We already been there. So yeah, I started in that contest and from then until now.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think, you know, there's a lot of people who do puzzles but don't do like speed puzzling. So what actually, so you participated your first competition, but what kind of like made you to continue competing? Like, was it the people? Was it the thrill of excitement in that first competition, or?
I believe was the atmosphere, the people, definitely, because the idea of do a puzzle in 1 hour or less than 1 hour was something that was totally not my. I wasn't used to do that things. I hate it, to be honest. I could not go to a shop and buy a 500-piece puzzle because I already know that I could finish it maybe in 1 day. And
Yeah.
was all my life I have been done was big puzzles to have at my home, at my floor, at my table during months, putting each day some pieces, and was my style of life. So it was crazy, but I love the atmosphere with people, and maybe this makes me the feeling of keep going to different contests and keep improving in this new world.
Yeah, and I think when we were sending messages on Instagram, you mentioned something that on your first like solo competitions, your times were like 50 minutes ish.
1 hour, 1 hour. I check
1
it.
hour.
I check it, and this first contest I already remember that was in March of 2018.
Okay,
And
yes.
then I participate again in another contest with another girl here, from here in Catalonia, maybe April, something like that. And in May, June, we had the Spanish contest. And I went with my dad. Was the first time that I did a solo puzzle. And I finished it in 1 hour, 1 minute, I believe. So yeah, I finished it in 11th place. And with my dad, we did it in more or less the same, 1 hour or 57 minutes. And we finished between 20 and 30 peps.
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of people are going to be happy to hear that because I think there is this misconception that you have just always been like super, super fast, like from the first time that you did a puzzle. I think you do have the benefit of like circumstances because you live in Spain, and you have a lot of like competition. I think of all the countries, you have the most speed puzzling competitions like every week. Um, do you? I think you've been asked this very lately, but how many competitions have you actually participated this year or in general?
It's crazy because, yeah, as you said, here in Spain, I believe with difference, we are the country with more contests because maybe if you want, if you are able to trip to different regions of Spain, you could have at least one contest every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And here in my region in Barcelona, in Catalonia, where I live, we have a lot of contests. Most of them don't appear in the iPlus website. So there are a lot of not known contests. Maybe I have already participated in more than 60, 70 in all my life in this world, that it's only 5 years old. So that's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like I've been thinking because I think in many other countries there's not too many competitions, at least if we even look like 1 year back. But I feel like now there is a lot of actually online competitions. There is starting to be more competitions in a specific country. And I just very lately started to feel like that I'm competing too much because I got so excited. So I'm signing up to everything I can find. But now I just realized that every time I do a puzzle, it's in a competition mode. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, do you think it can actually affect negatively also if you just like participate a competition after another and that's basically all you do?
Yeah, to be honest, 2 years ago, maybe, I was more into sync in every competition. So maybe, yeah, 2022 was a year that maybe every month I participate in at least three contests, so was a really big number of contests. And yeah, I start to believe that maybe it was not the best idea. So it's nice to be at home and to be relaxed and to do other stuff. And from these past years, I'm more selective. So I try to take different contests, which one is better, which one is special for me to go. And yeah, so to be honest, here we are already in May. And if I'm not wrong, I only participate in 4 contests in all this year. So yeah, I try to be more selective and try to find the ones that suits better for me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because what I feel like with my sports background, it's kind of like you practice and then the competition is the place where you see if your practice has come into fruition, so to say. But then if you kind of like practice too often, if you compete too often, you don't have the practice in between, because competition experience is like important, but you don't really practice there. That's like the real competition mode, and then the practice happens kind of like between.
Exactly.
That's what I think. I have like you want to see my huge list? Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty thorough. I just wanted to put because I forget stuff. What do you also think, like how often you do puzzles, like at home for practice or just for fun?
For fun, I like to have a puzzle every day of my life. So I can have a big puzzles at home and try to do it, maybe dedicated 10, 15 minutes a day, depending on the amount of work that I have, maybe only to relax. And maybe if it's a free weekend, I can practice with 500-piece puzzle for contest. But yeah, something that I notice that maybe for me it's not necessary to keep practicing every day. So I don't think that's really necessary. But maybe yeah, of course, what I do always is before an important contest, like maybe the Spanish contest or the World Championship, the 2 weeks before ago, then yeah, I try to practice a lot with the kind of puzzle that will appear. In that case, for this contest, is always Ravensburger. So I only focus on these puzzles.
Yeah, because I think I think there's some people who are kind of like worried, like, okay, I don't have that much time, like, should I do like more puzzles? But I think overall, it's like a quality over quantity. Because if you just keep doing stuff, then you don't really process what you're doing. You're just doing a puzzle after another. I had this one crazy, like, I think in February, I did over 50 puzzles. And you understand that's a little bit too much. And then on the other hand, so I was in and out of hospital in December, so I wasn't able to do any puzzles in December. And magically, my average time was like about hour before December. I came back in January and it had dropped to 50 minutes. So sometimes kind of like also the break can do good, because then your brain can like actually process what you have learned. But yeah, then one interesting thing, because obviously I found out about speed puzzling only last year. And I think a lot of people if they've done puzzles before, they kind of change their strategy, how they do the puzzle. For example, a lot of people, including myself, when I did puzzles just as a hobby, I always did the edges first. And then I learned about speed puzzling. It's very rare cases that I actually do the edges first. So how did your strategy change after you started actually speed puzzling competitions?
So, of course, when I I did the same. So in my first contest, I already started with the edge because it was like the most easy part for me to identify and then try to do. But from the beginning, I knew that I'm not good at split and short during the beginning. Maybe because I need the feeling of I need to feel that I'm putting already pieces. So I cannot dedicate that 5, 6 minutes that some people dedicated to solve all the puzzle in different questions. And was already works better for me was to separate the edge, to do the different regions every time that I see a specific color and a specific texture. And then, yeah, I finish with the hard part. Something that I have learned and during this process is not to do always the most easy part at the beginning, because maybe you can feel like you are not putting any piece in the hard part, and maybe that makes you this feeling of I'm not doing well. So maybe it's better to split the puzzle in different parts, some easy ones or more difficult ones, and then try to combine them. In that sense, if you are blocked in one moment, you can do the easy parts and change your mind, and then later you will have to do it again, but at least you have gained some minutes and doing something easy that makes you feel like you're putting pieces at quickly.
Yeah, I actually really liked when you said that you do feel that you're gonna leave the edges for later, for the moment that you start feeling a little bit lost or getting stuck. So then you actually have the time to kind of like collect yourself, collect your thoughts, your attitude, whatever needs to be collected at that moment, and then just kind of continue. So that actually, like, I also do the same, but I've never really thought about why do I do it that way. But it really makes sense to me. So before you participated your first speed puzzling competition, did you have like an expectations for yourself? Were you like thinking like, oh yeah, I think I'm better than the average, or were you going there like just, I don't know what's gonna happen?
I had no idea. So of course, my dad, people that saw me doing puzzles knew that I had something special, because of course, if we compare my dad with me, that we did puzzles at home, I was much faster than him. But yeah, in the contest, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And as I told you, I finished in fourth place. But there were the organizers were looking the tables, looking the times, and they already noticed that between me and my dad, I was the one that was putting the pieces a lot, and they told me that they saw something. So they saw like, okay, this guy, if he continues participating, can be on the top 3, on the top of couples here in Catalonia. And yeah, I believe that after the pandemic, where I had the opportunity to practice and understand better how to solve these puzzles, I can say that they saw this ability, and I tried to explode it at most.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who've done like puzzles their whole life have the benefit that they have kind of like naturally done things right practice-wise, even though they haven't thought about like I'm practicing. I actually discussed with Alfonso about this when I did my first tips video like year ago. And he kind of pointed out that it makes sense for me who just started doing puzzles, but for the people who have done puzzles their whole life, have already like done the bigger puzzles and done puzzles in random places and smaller puzzles and stuff like that. So it kind of like is the same thing, but kind of like different thing.
Yeah.
But one thing is I actually heard this crazy rumor just 2 days ago. I didn't know this about you, but somebody happened to ask me that how is your PhD going?
Oh.
You're doing one of those?
I finished it. I finished it last year. So
I need to address you as a doctor?
it's not necessary. But yeah, I'm officially doctor in automatic control. Yeah, I'm so happy. This last year was crazy with a lot of work trying to finish it. But yeah, I finished on April. So yeah, it's almost 1 year already passed. Now I'm teaching at university and doing my postdoctoral research in an investigation center. So I'm really happy. I have a lot of work, but it's something that I like to do. Yeah, I'm so happy that I passed this PhD years.
Yeah, it's just I was like first like I'm not nervous to talk to a world champion, like that's fine. Then somebody's like, okay, the guy may have like a PhD, and I'm like, okay, wait a second, world champion, PhD, so technically a doctor, teaching in university, if I understood correctly. Also Spanish champion. You're also very likable, and you also seem very humble. And then I was like, wait a second, you're also same age as I am. Is there something wrong with my life? Or like, is this a definition of a perfect human being? I'm like confused here.
No, I really believe that in some aspects of my life, I had so lucky, to be honest. It's not something strange because in terms of work, I did a master with my master director. He asked me to do the PhD, and I already accepted. Then with the pandemic, some professors leave the university, so they give me the opportunity if I want to start teaching classes. I accepted, and yeah, that's the lucky part to be on the place and on the time.
Yeah.
So I had this advantage that maybe someone new that wants to be a teacher now, it's more difficult. But on that dates, I could do it, and I'm really happy to say yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. A lot of people are asking, what are you studying? Oh, so I went to actually check your page, like you have on this university
Yeah,
pages. So you've done like research and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
I didn't understand anything. I was like, okay, industrial automations, engineering something, and a lot of your like scientific articles are about something called vanadium
Yeah, paradox flow batteries.
detox flow batteries.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so maybe it has doesn't come up because it's so far away from speed puzzling in a way, but people are really interested. So I wanted to just clarify that because sometimes it feels like, okay, what are you studying? Like, why don't you tell people?
No, yeah, I studied electronics degree in the Polytechnic University of Catalonia.
Yeah.
Then I did a master, and then I did my PhD in automatic control. And as you said, I'm focused on the study of batteries. In special, I studied vanadium flow batteries. That it's a kind of new battery for store energy in big amounts. So
Yeah.
a little description of what I do.
Yeah, but I was quite impressed. I have huge respect for people who do like a real research. Uh, because it helps me because I can look at other people's research and then be my smarty pants that I am, just referring to what other people have done the hard work. Obviously, I usually refer to psychology and stuff, but I mean, in general, researchers, thumbs up
Thank
for
you.
me. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, back to speed bustling.
Yeah.
So I think one big issue that I have also done a research of my own. Now I feel awkward using the word research. Okay, so I have like I feel like no matter if you have done puzzles 20 years or you've just started, people seem to analyze, like if I show a puzzle and ask them, is this an easy puzzle or hard puzzle? They seem to have very clear answer that, oh yeah, that's so easy, or that's so hard, or that's like
Yeah.
intermediate, or comparing two puzzles, this is faster than this. But they actually, when we see the results, people analyze that very, very incorrectly. People think that some puzzles are easier and then they have much slower time than what they set for some hard looking puzzles. So do you ever have this situation that you're looking at puzzle, you're like, oh, this is easy peasy, and then it takes longer than you expected, or the other way around, that something looks hard to you and then you're like surprised with your such a good time?
Yeah, of course, I had feel like that because there are some puzzles that, you look the image and makes you the sense that it will be so easy, and then it's not. One of the most maybe the puzzle that fits better on this category has appeared in some contests here in Spain. I don't know if you know about it. It's the donuts of Educa.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There are, if I'm not wrong, 9 different donuts with different colors, different toppings. So it makes you feel like, of course, you can sort each one of these donuts so great, and you will do only 9 mini puzzles. But then when you turn off all the pieces and you have all the pieces split in the table, you have not you have difficulties to distinguish between the donuts of different of same color, and then the assembling process is not as easy as it seems. So this is maybe one puzzle that you believe it's easy, and then when you have to assemble it, you realize that it's not as easy as it was, and maybe it's maybe more difficult than easy.
Yeah, I think collage puzzles, especially as you said, those that you can be kind of like separate into mini puzzles, are the most like it's a trap. Don't
Yeah,
fall into
exactly,
it.
exactly.
Because I always try to explain this in a way that, for example, the floral reflections that was used in the world. So it's kind of like 6 mini puzzles. So you can be like, okay, this is easy puzzle because, but technically, would you really want to have 100-piece puzzle that is just one color? Would you call that one easy? No, you would not. So
Exactly.
why it magically becomes easy if it's attached with 5 others? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but I understand that it's like the automatic reaction, like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly. Yeah.
so nice to my eye, this must be yeah. But related to this, I wanted to show you some puzzles, no pressure. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, you may have done some of those because it's really hard to find puzzles that some people who have puzzled their whole life haven't done. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you a puzzle, so I want you to tell me how long do you think it will take you to finish it?
Okay.
And
Nice.
if I don't believe your answer, I'm gonna call it a bull. So let's start with this one. You may have done this.
No, this one not, but I did some similar ones because I know this type of puzzle with animals on the center. That's a difficult one. So maybe I will say, of course, more than 40 minutes, obviously. Maybe 48. We can say 48 minutes.
Okay, I approve that one. It's somewhere. Okay, don't hate me.
Wow. Okay. Well,
And
of
it's
course,
seriously black. It's
yeah.
really black. It's not gradient.
Exactly. This black part, of course, it's awful. So I see that, and I already know that I will finish it, sorting the pieces for the type, and doing this part with type pieces. The other part, it seems difficult, but I believe different textures that can help. But 55 minutes, 1 hour, maybe. Yeah, definitely.
My pool meter is going like, could be. Okay. Well, I'm actually excited to hear you answer this one.
This is an easy one. So,
Collage puzzle.
eh?
That would we just talk about the collage puzzle
Yeah, exactly.
right away. Easy puzzle.
Easy puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah, I can catalogate with easy with the yeah maybe with mm, the different colors and the textures because you have different yellows, but each one have some details so can help. So this one is one of the puzzles that I believe I can finish it in less than 40 minutes, of course, for first time. Maybe 56, 57. Could be.
I actually have done this in 29, but I did it 11 times, so I don't think it counts.
Well, what time did you manage?
So I did it first time. I think my time was like 48 minutes, and then I did it 10 times more, and my final time was 29 and something. I don't remember the seconds, but this was my challenge on YouTube to do a puzzle to see if I can do it in under a half an hour.
No.
So I did this the 2 days in a row
Oh.
to get it under half an hour. So I would not recommend that to anyone, but okay, this one.
That's similar to the ones we talked before. More difficult, of course, because the ones of the championship of the flowers had the benefit of have different textures.
Mm-hmm.
So for this one, 45 minutes, maybe? Yeah, 45.
Okay. You know what? I will bring this to Spain. So you gotta prove yourself someday.
Of course.
Just won yourself
Will
a
be
puzzle.
nice.
Congratulations. You probably don't know this, but this is from a Finnish brand. And
Oh,
unfortunately, our brands are not the highest quality.
okay.
So
But
that you may change your mind when you do this, but
it's
we'll
really
see.
awesome.
Maybe later this year. Okay, this is a 1,000-piece puzzle. I know you're gonna hate me also for this one. So this is 1,000 pieces.
Wow.
I had to.
Oh my God. To be honest, I've never done a 1,000 piece puzzle with the clock myself, alone. So yeah, it's something that as I know that
So you have no idea, even if I would have shown you like a easier one.
exactly. Of course, 1,000 is difficulty, not
Is
less
it
than five,
possible?
6, 7 hours, maybe 10 hours. Yeah, could be
Yeah,
definitely.
this is a hard one. You like movements though?
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I like it. It has, well, to be honest, it has some details that can help you to put some, um, yeah, some pieces more quickly, but the rest of whites, it's awful.
Yeah, it's like you do the green hat and the whatever
Exactly.
chapter is over there, maybe some black hat, and then you're like,
Exactly.
what's next? No, it's a nice puzzle, but yeah, it takes like a decade. In general, what are your like favorite type of images or puzzles for fun, and also what is kind of like your favorites for speed puzzling?
For the fun, I love landscapes, colorful puzzles, not with a lot of details. I'm not a person who likes the details. I maybe enjoy it more a large region with it can be with gradients colors, so it can help you to distinguish between some colors. But yeah, I love them to do at home. For competitions, I believe it's true that it helps a lot to have puzzles with different details, not small details, but maybe with small regions that can you split and do it better. For example, one puzzle that comes into my mind is a World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship final from 2022, the London townhouses with the different colors. That of course gives you this opportunity to split in different regions. Of some of them, of course, are more difficult, but I like these puzzles. That was for me was the puzzle that I have enjoyed the most, and I believe the time that I did it's maybe my personal record. We can say something because if I find a balance between the difficulty and the time I did, this one I believe was the best. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like more like detailed puzzles, like Amy Stewart puzzles,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Of course, even with those, like my time is kind of like slower comparison to other type of puzzles, but in comparison to others,
Yeah.
actually do better with the more details
Exactly.
there is. Somebody wanted to ask, like, what is the hardest 500-piece puzzle that you have ever done?
The 500 pieces, the hardest one. Oh yeah, definitely. I practice with it. Luckily, yeah, I didn't do it in a contest, but it appears on the last World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship in the pairs classification.
Mhm.
Is that room with the stairs?
Yeah.
This for me was really difficult to do because yeah, it has little details. It has only some colors that you can see at the beginning, maybe 4 or 5 regions with only 5, 6 pieces. So you can say that maybe you can only do like 60, 70, at most 100 pieces, more or less, in an easy way. And then you have to, yeah, to battle with 400 pieces that are almost same colors, difficult to distinguish. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there actually any puzzle brands from Spain? Like I know, for example, Bluebird is from France,
Yeah.
and well, obviously Ravensburger from Germany. But is there any puzzle brands in Spain specifically?
Educa, I believe it's the most common one here. And we have another one, S Puzzles. It's a little brand of puzzles that do in wood. So they are wood puzzles and with high quality. And I don't know more, to be honest. Of course, Educa is the ones that has maybe the most famous puzzles here in Spain, the most known.
Yeah, I think I've done only one Educa puzzle. I
Yeah.
think it's not really sold here in the stores, at least. Maybe I should order it online. But
Yeah.
anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about the world. So, the most important question, how does it really feel to be a world champion? Because I can see you're very humble. So it's like I want the real answer to this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's something that I didn't expect it first year when I participate. Of course, when I finished on first place, my classification round was something like, okay, I demonstrate that I have a good level, but I knew that that puzzle I have already done before, so it was like it's not true. So okay, I finished it in 33 minutes, but 1 month ago I finished it in almost 40. So yeah, maybe it's not the best way to to know if you are as good as it seems or not. But yeah, when I finished the London Town Houses, that I enjoyed it a lot. I could not expected that I finished on first place. I was so happy, of course. I had some um, things in my mind. Some I want to finish maybe on top 10, top 20, because this year was my first year as a Spanish champion. So I already know that I had some possibilities to be on the top, but not already on the top one. And last year, of course, was more difficult because I knew that the level is every year high.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe had more pressure in the sense that I don't want to say that I had to demonstrate, but in some part I had this feeling so that if I didn't finish it in a well time, something strange um, could be because the previous year the difference was was so high because I believe I finished it 7 minutes before Christine.
Mm-hmm.
That goes crazy. And yeah, last year I had that pressure to at least do it well. I don't put the top one in my mind, but yeah, of course I wanted to finish top five and see that I could revalidate the title was really amazing.
Yeah, that is. I assume you have a lot of friends who don't do puzzles. So what do they think about like speed puzzling and the fact that you're a world champion in it?
Uh, they, they make fun of me, some of them, because they cannot believe that this wall exists and these competitions have this importance that we already have a world championship. That sounds crazy. But yeah, it's something I love to talk with them. Of course, they show me. So thanks to the organization to put the live streams, they have the opportunity to follow me. And yeah, for me, it makes me more special, not to know that there are some people that is with you and they are watching you how to do it, and that makes it special.
Yeah, and I think we got the impression right that your family is very supportive of.
Yeah, of course.
They're always there. I think there is this video when you won in 2022 and your mother is watching from the side. I think
Yeah.
everybody, I think it left some kind of impact in the puzzle community. It's it's very annoying to me. I can watch that video because I'm very like basic Finnish person, very unemotional, more like from the cold spectrum of personality. I can watch that video without crying, and it's like very awkward to me, so I don't want to watch it anymore. Uh, but yeah, it's very, very touching.
Yeah, my parents are so special for me in life. So I'm a lone child, so that makes sense because I have my parents for me, and they give me everything. And yeah, I believe, as I told you, I won the Spanish championship 3 months ago. So in June, I won the Spanish No, in April, because in this year the World Championship took place in June. In April, I won the Spanish contest. They could not come, so I remember calling them. To be honest, they didn't see me on the live stream because I didn't want to make them expected something, so I didn't call them with my individual contest. And then when I finished it and I told them, Dad, Mom, I finished in first place, they were like crazy. They could not believe it. And of course, they then watched the live stream for the couples and teams, and they love it. And after that, they want to come with me to Valladolid. Well, they already had the tickets, everything took before I win, but yeah, they want to enjoy this experience. And what can I say? My mom was, I feeling these emotions that maybe every mom and every dad can have for the child. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's might be a bit different because I have 5 siblings, so there were 6 of us. And
Wow.
my parents are divorced, so it's like really it's not like bad parenting, but I believe it was hard to give attention to all the kids. So I'm gonna leave. I think that's why I'm also so competitive, a little bit flashy sometimes, because I'm gonna like use to go like try to get the attention, because otherwise I won't get it. So I think that's a little bit different. But do you feel like now that you're like a 2-time world champion, do you feel kind of like the pressure of maybe that you don't want to disappoint yourself or others?
I feel sometimes I felt this pressure. I try to not put it on me. Maybe the fact that last year I could win again has make give out this pressure. So like 2 times in a row, it's like not casual. We can say something like that. So I demonstrate that I'm good doing puzzles, and for me that's more than enough. And I only want, and I always say the same. I love doing puzzles. I want to enjoy doing puzzles. And if one day I believe that I start not enjoying doing a contest or doing a puzzle, something wrong, it happens. So yeah, what I really want is enjoy a lot this next World Championship. I know it will be so difficult because there are amazing puzzles. I really hope that Christine had the opportunity to finish in fifth place because she deserves it, to be honest.
That's
Yeah, last year I don't like when you win something with this small difference of time, because I know that you can feel more disappointed, of course.
yeah. Yeah, I always say that I rather lose like with 5 minutes than with
Yeah,
5 seconds, because it will haunt you for forever. Back when I was playing in the Finnish national team, it was the European Championship final, and we lost by 1 point.
that's
It still haunts me. It's like 12 years ago. It's ridiculous. Anything else that I've ever won or lose, I can't even remember the final score. But that one I do remember, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, yeah. But yeah, I understand. It's hard to like, it's hard position to be when you kind of like have to defend your title, because you have nothing. Like you can only lose technically.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're
I
the second or something, you can
yeah.
only win. But
I'm not worried to lose, to be honest. It's something that I've already played sports all my life. I played tennis all my life in competitions. And of course, I'm not Rafa Nadal and Djokovic, so that's because I lost love of matches. And that's true that I had maybe disadvantage of losing a lot of times, and know that if I lose, I will be happy. Everything that I enjoy the puzzle, and I believe that I did my work. So of course, if I finish the puzzle, someone finished before me, and I feel like I could do it better. Yeah, I will have this feeling of disappointed. But if I feel the puzzle and I finish it and say, okay, I do it well. The only problem is that there is people that is better, like everything in life. It will be for me a pleasure, we can say.
Yeah, I actually even quoted on my notes because you said this also earlier when you were doing the interview for the USA Jigsaw Association. And I think they asked you the same question. Your literal answer was that if I don't win, I'm still happy. And I'm like,
Yeah, because I
I'm
believe,
the opposite. I can't
yeah,
understand that.
I believe we have the advantage that in this world, of course, this is a competition about a lot of people, but you're not competing against another person. You're competing against you, because you're competing against a puzzle that you want to finish in the most quickly way. So I believe, yeah, you cannot feel bad to not win if you have compete and do the puzzle in a very well way, and you believe you do it so quickly. Mm, I know it's difficult to explain,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's something that only happens in this world. That it only happens in doing puzzles.
yeah, and I kind of like agree, and I think everybody can understand what you're saying. I think it's very also admirable. I think you're creating like very healthy and good culture in the world of speed puzzling. But if I'm like 100% honest, I just fully disagree with you. And I'm really hard. Like, I understand you for sure. I can see that you are like standing behind your statement and you truly believe that. But for me, um, I guess I'm just wired differently as a person. But I could not, I could say that just to make myself sound great, but I don't honestly agree with that.
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know why, and I think it's actually to be honest, it's something that makes me really good in very short times in whatever I do, but it also has the downside that I'm starting to have a little bit like, do I enjoy doing puzzles anymore? Um, and it's a little bit sad. So I've been trying to kind of like cut back. Right now we have the first Finnish champion in like 2 weeks. And I have kind of done the active decision that I don't care because
Yeah.
now I'm caring too much and it will only lead to disappointment for me.
Yeah.
And I should be doing like puzzles just for fun as well. But I don't know, like, is it more, I think your way of approaching is maybe more common than mine,
Yeah,
but
could be. Yeah, I understand you. That's difficult because, yes, I told you, we are competing against you, but with one problem, that you're in good condition. So in a World Championship final, you're competing against something new. So you cannot say what is a really good time for you. So maybe, yeah, maybe the best time for you could be on a first attempt, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
But maybe with another puzzle it's 45. That make it so difficult. So yeah, I believe it's something that has to be felt. So what's your feelings? Maybe we can have a talk in 1 year. Maybe I don't win the championship. That I believe it has sense. And I told you that I was I was wrong, and I feel when I lost that, yeah, that was something wrong inside me. So maybe you are too, and I'm wrong, but yeah, it's crazy. It's difficult to find the balance between these emotions.
Yeah, and of course, like I don't want anybody to feel like miserable or unhappy when they don't win. So I think also like I think more some people are more sensitive. I'm not sensitive in a way that even though I do want to win, and I can honestly say that the only reason I practice and compete is to be better than others. Like I know it sounds bad, but I can't lie about it. That's
Yeah,
honestly how I think.
that's
But when I fail, even though I have this very like obsessive way of competing, even if I lose, I don't really, it doesn't really affect me. I don't feel like I'm a like there's something wrong with me or I'm a bad person or I'm like oh, and then I'm like super miserable. So it doesn't affect me. But I understand that I don't want to promote the way I think because I know there is a lot of people who take things like very like personal.
mm.
So then I don't want to make other people miserable that I will kind of like share this obsession of
Yeah,
mine
no, no.
with them, and
I,
then they're different personalities, they cannot
yeah,
handle it.
that's the point. Different personalities, obviously. 1 week ago, we had mm, the online Joe contest from Michelle from Speed Puzzle.
Yeah.
And I finished in second place after Christine, and Teresa Koptikova finished third. And the difference between us was only 1 minute. So, minute. Um, I finished it so happy with that. With the puzzle was not my dessert one, so I didn't enjoy it a lot. But I love the image. Also, during the assembling process, I had these problems and makes me not enjoy it. But I finished with that feeling of I don't win, but I'm expecting the world to be something like that. Something that will be so competitive with a high level, with a small difference in maybe all categories and all rounds, classifiers and the finals. And yeah, when I finished it, I was like happy to be on this next championship and see how it goes.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned because yeah, you indeed you were 1 minute behind on that competition. Let's not talk about my placement. That was like I can't say the word. I cannot curse for because YouTube will ban me. But yeah, I was not happy with that. But as said, it will be really like neck and neck, touch and go in the worlds because the competition gets just the level gets higher every year. There's new people coming that we don't even know of.
Exactly.
Um, so what do you think that are kind of your weaknesses as a speed puzzler that you should improve?
Maybe details. So maybe the puzzles with a lot of details because I'm not used to look the image. I'm only look the box when I'm opening the puzzle and when I'm doing the sorting. I spend this time doing the box trying to find which strategy I will do, what part I will do the first one, the second one, what I will leave for the end. And yeah, I believe when there are puzzles with a lot of little details or these difficulties that makes you have to look the box, I have to improve that part.
Yeah, I think a lot of it seems like people who have done puzzles for whole their life tend to look at more the pieces, and people who just started look at more at the
Yeah,
image.
that's something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely a thing. There is one question here from somebody who's, by the way, saying that you're awesome. I'm a little bit triggered by this question. I will explain why, but I just want your answer to this. They're asking, do you have photographic memory?
Not sure in life. So yeah, I can say that I have developed some type of photography memory in puzzles, in know the image, in look some pieces and know that there is one piece in one part of the table with one detail that when I see another piece, I know that they go together. But only for puzzles, to be honest. Outside this world, I had facilities for the study. But I believe I have not this photographic memory that I can write something at the moment I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I will I hope this explanation won't be like 1 kilometer long, but and I really like that you started answering this question by saying that you have kind of like developed this skill, that understanding the image better, because obviously you're a researcher, so you can understand this, but this has been researched a lot by scientists. There is no such thing existing as photographic memory. They have not been able to prove it. They've like researched the grandmasters in chess, and they are just not able. They always came to the same conclusion that it's just a skill that they have kind of like learned by putting the effort and time in it. And if you even to grandmasters, if you throw something that they've never played with, they don't remember it any better than anybody else. What triggers me with this question, and I know this question is like meant as a compliment, all with good intention. I want to make that clear, so I don't have anything like, oh, you're trying to insult something. But there is a couple issues with this question, because when we talk about photographic memory, which once again doesn't exist, but it's considered something that you're born with.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there is a, and this is also in sports, we see somebody's the best of the best. So we tend to kind of like make excuses that she or he has some skills that the person is born with, which basically discredits, in my ears, it discredits all the time and effort that the person has put in practicing and learning. Yeah. Obviously, I don't think you take this as an offense.
No, of course.
Absolutely not.
To be honest, if someone had photographic memory in puzzles, one thing that we already know is that the puzzle, the Ravensburger puzzle, have the same pieces. So usually the pieces are the same one. Maybe.
Yeah, you can learn the cut.
Exactly, the cut is the same. So maybe you could try to memorize the cut.
Yeah.
And of course, it will be amazing, because if you have a reason with the same color, but you know exactly which piece goes in each place, will be anyone could finish it in less than 30 minutes because he memorized 500 pieces. Of course, I believe it's impossible, and gratefully, no one has this ability and cannot do the puzzles in this way.
Yeah, and obviously, once again, as you said, you can start kind of like memorizing it, but it's once again, it's about skill, not talent.
Exactly.
Because we don't have, you're not born with talent. It's almost with everything, it's about skill. So my other issue with this question is, and this is not related to you, but I think when somebody says that, okay, you're the best, you may have like this photographic memory, which is a talent that you're born with, it may give the wrong message to all the other aspiring speed puzzlers who are slow right now or not the best yet. It maybe give them the message that, okay, if you're slow now or you're not the best yet, that means you don't have the talent, because if it's something you're born with, so you either have it or not. So it kind of gives them a message that it doesn't matter if you practice or try to learn stuff, because you can only be the best if you have this talent you're born with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's. I don't agree. Of course, it's difficult to say practice, and if you are finishing puzzles in 2 hours and 30 minutes, you will finish it in less than 40, because it's difficult. But of course, I can use my own example. As I told you, my first 500 piece puzzle was 1 hour. And thanks to the pandemic that I had to stay at home during a lot of months, I had the opportunity to practice a lot with 500 piece puzzles, and I developed these new skills. So the ability to turn off all the pieces and sort the edges in 3 minutes is not something that I born. It's something that I had practiced a lot, and I know how to do it. And yeah, I'm with you that for everyone that wants to do a great time, and now they believe that they are doing bad times, I can only encourage them to do a lot of puzzles, to do puzzles that they like, that they don't like, and enjoy them. And yeah, don't put a specific goal, so don't try to put a time. to say next year I have to finish before. Let's see how it goes. Everyone has its own evolution. And yeah, I only can say that they have to do this journal, this path in enjoying the way.
Yeah, and of course, like everybody's path and journey is different. Of course, there's differences how we learn. Some people learn faster, that's a fact. But you can still, even if you're slower, you don't know exactly how to practice, you can still, if you put the time and effort into it. Of course, like it's a fact. Let's say that you're very tall. I think it's easier to get to the MBA. Kind of like makes sense. But also we do have like well, you said you play soccer, so let's take like Messi. I mean, he's not really the biggest guy,
Exactly.
but he is like fast. And I think there is like a lot of things, of course, circumstances, who are your parents, how much you have resources. But I mean, let's be honest, he wouldn't be there unless he put a lot of practice on that.
Of course, of course. And with this example, looking the soccer, we have yeah, a good example because it defines perfectly how this goes. We have Messi, as you say, that of course he was talented and he has practiced a lot to be on top. And then we have on the other side Cristiano Ronaldo, who everyone's explained that he maybe was not as talented as maybe Messi with these skills, but he's the perseverance. So he's a man that can be on the gym every day 5 hours and practice football every day of the week. And that's truly for the maybe kind of people that have reached the top of the soccer champions.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a perfect example. Talking about sports, because I'm kind of like, I think one of the reasons why I share so much like tips on my YouTube and maybe even so I'm kind of like trying to start this, that I would do speed puzzling coaching, because I have coaching experience, and sometimes your skill set is more in coaching than competing yourself, because it's a different skill. So what is my like a purpose of this? I wish to bring like more maybe professional touch into the world of speed puzzling, so we could have someday, for example, similar status as, for example, chess is considered a sport by the Olympic committees. So what do you see happening in the future of speed puzzling?
Well, with this tendency that it's increasing a lot, I obviously believe that, of course, it will not be something soon. So maybe not in the next 5, 10 years. But yeah, why not to think that in maybe 20 years, if these World Championships keep follow increasing the amount of participants from different countries still being amazing, and each country has its own national contest. Maybe with all of respects to chess, because I believe this is one of the top sports with mine, we can be in a similar way, of course, with more or less people, but yeah, with some important contests that can be presented in different parts of the world, with more live streams, not only made by the organization of the contest, but maybe with other special TVs, we can say, or YouTube channels that want to share this content. And I believe, yeah, if there are more people that makes like you share this content to all type of persons, we can increase a lot.
I believe there is great future. I know there has been these interviews, and you kind of say sometimes that the good thing about speed puzzling is that it's not like sports like soccer, that there is like rivalries and stuff going on. Can you elaborate your thoughts a little bit on that?
Yeah, something that I like, that I believe make it special, it's the fact that like chess, that we cannot compete against chess in that the prices are not quite high. So of course, we are talking about for the World Championship 1,000 euros, but maybe for, I'm not sure, but maybe for the chess, it's 100 or 500,000 euros. So, of course, we are on another dimension that makes that people don't want to be there for the fact of live with puzzles, so as a style of life, but only as a hobby. And for my case, it's like this. It's still a hobby. I know that I cannot dedicate all the time I would like to puzzles because I have other work to do. I believe that it's what makes it different from a sport, and especially in the sense that our competitions or events, of course, it's for the compete and do the puzzles, but it's like a meeting. It's a meeting where people from all paths can meet and share time and share histories, and that's really special.
Yeah. And I think maybe your opinion is also a little bit biased because, as you said, tennis, soccer. So I know those worlds. I think you used the word corruption even in one of your interviews. There's a lot of issue with how it's like managed and money and rivalries. I know soccer games can get really crazy on the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not really a fan of that. But maybe I look at this a little bit differently because the sports that I used to play, I don't usually mention this, but I played ultimate frisbee. It's not the biggest of the sports, but it does have the approval of the Olympic committee. But it is the only, to my knowledge, it's still the only sports in the world that don't use referees at all. Yeah. So two teams referee their own game. Because technically we even have referees in speed puzzling. Like we have people who watch
our... Exactly. Yeah.
So I think maybe I'm looking from that perspective why I don't believe that it may damage the culture somehow, because I'm coming from a sports that you can play the game if you go to that like a soccer theatrics that sometimes people do on the field, because it doesn't work because you have to referee the game yourself with the opponent.
Exactly.
But yeah, yeah. I think so I think a lot of people are always kind of like and waiting for you to start doing more puzzle content on social media. I know you're busy, but
yeah.
To be honest, do you knowingly try to stay away from social media and other platforms just because you don't have time or you don't have interest to it?
I would like to do more content, not only on Instagram, which is for me the most easy for the moment ones, because I'm more familiar. I use in my personal account, and I would like to do some content on YouTube, TikTok. But yeah, I have to find time. I like to do the things. That's maybe a disadvantage, no? That's something it's wrong with me, that I want to do the things in a good way. So I have this maniac personality that when I do a job, I want to do it on good conditions. I don't want to present something that I did in just 10 minutes or the day before. So that's the reason why my posts that I want to do maybe on my mind one each week, it's being one each month. But if I'm able to find more time and I'm used to do this content, I hope that, yeah, with the past of the time, maybe I can be more consistently and do different material, not only in Instagram, but maybe one day I would like to open a YouTube channel to talk about puzzles, to put some videos of me making puzzles and all this.
Yeah, that's, and I agree with you that I'm also like, I don't want to do like crappy content and just post it for the sake of posting something.
Yeah.
But to be honest, currently I think I'm using like half of my week on puzzle content, which is ridiculous. I am an entrepreneur, so I have a flexible kind of like hours, so to say, but then I end up like working like millions of years. But I don't think if I mentioned to you, I do own like a growth marketing agency, so I'm pretty familiar how all these channels work. So if you ever want some tips or anything, just let me know. I'll be happy to.
Yeah, of course, I will.
And maybe lightly related to this, which I was also a little bit worried about even. This is funny thing. I think I kind of like maybe a little bit blew you off because I think I think I asked you for the cake recipe, which I, by the way, still haven't gotten. And you mentioned something like yeah, we should do like a post or a YouTube video together. And I was like, I don't know, don't take this as offense. I took it as kind of like a small talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, when the US people ask you for coffee, you never go to the coffee with them. So I was like, yeah, cool, right, great. And then I think you mentioned it again later, and then I was like, oh, you're serious.
Oh yeah, totally. I believe it's something that I enjoy. I enjoy doing puzzles. I enjoy talk about puzzles. So for me, it's something special and it's fun for me. Of course, I know that as I told you, I don't live about puzzles, so I could not spend all my entire week doing this type of things. But yeah, sometimes it's so happy and it's so fun to have a break and stop the work and talk with someone about puzzles or do some of this content special. Yeah, it made me so happy.
Yeah, I love talking about puzzles. One more question about the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship event. I assume there is a lots of people who want to talk with you and take pictures with you, and I don't know whatever they ask you. How do you kind of feel about that, and how do you navigate through it? They know a lot about me. I have no idea who are they. So
Yeah,
when I get off guard,
I put all pieces inside
yeah.
and I could not assembling them, and then I had to take outside again.
Just to specify. So you also struggle
Yeah,
that you do have kind of like the benefit that you are because you're the best of the best. So you usually have a table for yourself.
I believe it's not good for the contest that some people on the same.
Ay. So are
Well,
you actually able to focus on your own things and at the same time see what your pair is doing?
maybe one of the team members has to be sacrificed. For my opinion, of course, everyone has its own strategy, but biggest mistakes that you can do in. I have some question for you too. I don't know
Yes,
if
bring it on.